Hello folks, so in the next section of putting the radio into the Nissan Almera N16, I seem to remember, we are going to do the power lead today. So we did the aerial in the previous video, drilled it into the roof, put the cable through the roof and SWR'd it, etc. Today we're going to do a power lead. So in the UK, with me being involved in business radio, supposed to do fittings to the MPT 1362 standard. So what we normally do is to provide a power lead just to a chock block. Can be to whatever connector of your choice, but just to a chock block, because we don't know what radio we're putting in, but we haven't had the money to buy it yet, and it's to be another Thunderpole 3000. Thunderpole kindly supplied at no cost the one we use in the Nissan Leaf, which we use as a test car. But of course I'm not expecting a second one, so I will have to buy one, and I have to save up for these things on my limited income. So we're going to do a power lead, and it has to be double insulated. So rather than that red and black wire, you could put that in an outer sheath, but because it's going through the bulkhead, MPT 1362 says it needs to be double sheathed. So we'll be using mains lead flex. Now the CB radio is going to draw as an absolute maximum 1.5 amps, so we'll be putting 3 amp cable in. If it was going to be a ham radio, which might be taking 5 amps for say a 25 watt output, well, we'd put in 6 amp cable, but we don't need to do anything big. And of course the thinner it is, the easier it is to get through. So if we look under the bonnet, yes, it's called a bonnet. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm already too hot. I can't see the viewfinder. So I'm just wondering, because we have to go straight to the battery, but with the fuse at the battery, there's a possibility that then rather than have to drill through the bulkhead and putting a grommet in, like we did with the Toyota, which this replaces, it may be possible for us to go through that cable entry grommet there by putting a hole in it, which will effectively self-seal. Now I may be able to do that with my surgical Caesars. I may have to drill it. Remember, this is my car, and if I damage it, it's my car. Now some of these are double. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to go inside and take the glove box out, just like we did to put the cable in for the aerial. So the cable we're going to use here I've had in stock for some time. It probably came from CPC, who's one of the wholesalers we use, Combined Precision Components at Preston, them and RS and Farnell. So I'm not going to take the sheath off, but at this point, but it's just red and brown. Come back about 40 years, Mr. Tango. It is blue and brown normal mains lead. So in this country, in the UK, brown is live for AC mains things, and blue is neutral. So in previous generations in this country, red was live and black was neutral. On DC, red is positive and black is negative. Now, when I was at Nottingham Radio, we used to have some custom cable made for us from, was it DFB Wholesale at Doncaster? And they had it in red and black, and they did a 6 amp rated one just for the business radio people like us. So it was DC cable it was sold as. It was 50 volt insulation rather than 250 volt insulation like this is. But this is 3 amp, and this is what we'll be using. This is what we always use when we're doing CB sets in cars. Now, putting this through on those surgical Caesars may well work. So I've taken the glove box out the other side. This can either take 1 minute, it can take 35 minutes, it can be an absolute faff, it can be doddle. Depends on the car. And I did do we had another Almera about 14 years ago, but I can't even remember if I fitted it or whether Mark did or what. So anyway, I'm just going to give it a go and see if we can get it through on the surgical Caesars. If this is in camera shot, we're going to load the cable into the surgical Caesars, so we've got some kind of rigidity like that, and then put that all through where I poked a hole. So now it's a matter of kind of see it on the inside. So a bit further on, there's a bit less sun and I can do what I'm doing now. Can you see we've got the surgical Caesars now with the wire? I'll waggle the wire going down where I put that nick in the cable grommet. So fed it through with the surgical Caesars, because that, if you try and push this kind of flex through, any type of flex through, it just bundles up. So I need some rigidity. You could tape it to a rod, like 10 gauge phosphor bronze rod. We have those because of it being organ builders. But surgical Caesars work for me. So now I'm going to try and withdraw the Caesars. There we go. And hopefully push that through without any more hassle. Good. Well, so next we want to tape it. I've pulled sufficient through. We need to tape it so that it's safe. Did I say tape? I mean cable tie it. I'll be going to 6 amp chock blocks, or we call them chock blocks. They used to be Brown and Bakelite. It's what we use. You don't have to, but what we use. And we've got some cable ties. Do a thing longer for that. I'll go and find some longer ones in a moment. It's not just a neatness thing, you just don't want the wires to be flopping around. I'll go and get some bigger cable ties and we'll come back to the camera when I've done that. Right, so we've tied everything down now and got it to here. See the path along that cable, down there, underside of this air intake, not the top side because somebody might need to take that off, and I've tied it to the negative lead there. So what we're going to do now, I've already prepared, I'm just going to move the viewfinder so I can see what I'm showing you. I've already prepared a 1.25" fuse in a fuse holder, and we've cleaned the contacts in there. These are solder type ones. We also have the crimp type ones. I've crimped and soldered a spade onto there, and I'll give you the part number. It's alright being able to get kits of these from the DIY shop. So these are RS 3619089. It's a BFU 8. It's not a spade, is it? But anyway, you can see what it is from there. For use with 16 to 14 American wire gauge, made in Italy. So we use that one. On the other end, we'll put one of these connector blocks. I just went to the back workshop to go and get one of these parts, and I've had a parcel delivered in between. No, you know, it just shows how people can sneak up, and this camera at the end of the day is more than £1,000 camera. Sat there on its tripod. That's for the inside. I'll cut a 1 for here. It'd be nicer if it was done with a knife, but it isn't. People who are OTT can put all this in heat shrink tubing or self-amalgamating tape or even Denso tape. But that's how we are going to do these. Don't use those cartridge fuses. Everything's soldered as well as crimped. At the end of the day, this 19-year-old car is probably likely to be 5 years with us. It's not like it's going to do more than 500 miles a year, and it's not like it's going to go underwater or anything like that. So we'll connect this to the positive. Why is there a terminal there with nothing going to it? No idea. So on these cars it's a 10mm spanner normally. But we've got this accessory bus bar thing at the top, just to put a spanner in my works. I've suddenly realised this is the wrong camcorder. This is the one we record the pipe organ on, so goodness knows how the sound is set up because it's on manual record for use with the pipe organ. So I don't know, I may have to enhance the sound and it may be absolutely awful. Well, look there, it doesn't fit, does it? Right, so one of these other spade things we'll put on the negative. Mr. Chippy can crimp that later, but I'll solder it for the demonstration. Always solder on top of your battery. I've actually got some quarry tiles right at the side of me here. What are quarry tiles, Mr. Tango? These are quarry tiles. I could have put it there, could have soldered on there, but no, I didn't. So we can crimp that later if we want to. Switch the soldering iron off. I'll need to go and put a connector block on the inside, which at the moment is an open end. I don't want these to fall off, or we'll end up having to reprogram the radio, as in the entertainment radio. That's on. So they like it cable tied. Just where it's connected. Right, I'll do the positive one. Right, so I'll rejoin this at the last connection. So we've got the positive from the fuse holder now to the one that goes to the car. Once again, we just tidied that up. That's put a tie wrap there. We need one of the longer ones for here. So still in the back catalogue is when I've fitted out the Nissan Leaf. It'll be the same. And I've already explained before that there's several reasons that they want you to go straight to the battery. And one is it acts as a choke, which is interference. And two, if you have a cataclysmic accident and you've only got front half of the car, well, the radio's still going to work even though you lost all the car's electrics. So, and we've had those situations with taxis. So that's it. So a small little hole just big enough for the wire from the surgical scissors, the wire round, tie wrap to all the points, nothing in the way of servicing work, tight to the terminal posts and tightly down, and you'll see that the far end, that's at the far end of the nut and bolt. This is under a washer and that's fused at 3 amps, which is what we need. So we'll put the bonnet down and I'll take the camera canned-kelled. I'll take it canned-kelled. So inside the car, with no lights whatsoever, of course. We've taken the glove box out and we're presented to that connector block. So I'm going to put the glove box back in, and then we'll get a voltmeter and just check it works. Right, you'll see the car's put back together, and let's see if we can get the we've got hold on, we have. And there we've got it. I've got it the wrong way around, but it doesn't matter. It's 12.52. We'll tuck that back up, and next time we do a video from this car, we'll be putting the radio in when I have bought same. In the meantime, Mr. Chippy was using the Cybernet ZX1 emergency set. Right, we better just see if it starts. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Right, so of course for people not in the UK, we get in this side of the car. Make sure the car's in neutral, depress the clutch. And hey presto, it works. There we go, thank you for watching the second part of fitting the Almera with a radio.